everyone. This is Marika, and welcome back to another session of Community Health Nursing with me. So, in our previous sessions, we have discussed about physical environment and how important physical environment is. What is environment? What are the different aspects that are involved in a physical environment of a human being? In the very last session, we have discussed about light and ventilation, and we have seen how important a proper lighting is as well as proper ventilation is in order to maintain the health status of an individual. With improper lighting, it causes various eye problems, and also with improper ventilation, there can be certain respiratory problems and allergic problems in people. In today's session, we are going to discuss about housing. When we hear the term housing, we understand it is about shelter or a house. Housing is the most important component of man's physical environment when any people spend most of their time in their house. So house is very important for us. We spend most of our time inside the house. So housing is one of the important component of man's physical environment. A house provides the shelter as well as other required facility to human beings. Human beings have different kinds of needs. The human body has different needs. Let us see what are the different needs that we have and how our housing plays major role in fulfilling those needs. The first need we have is physical need. The second need that we have is psychological need. The third need that we have is health needs, and the last need is protective needs. So what comes under physical needs? Physical needs includes proper thermal environment, pure air, and adequate lighting. So all of these factors are seen inside the house, and it plays a major role on the health of the person, on the health of the family members. The second type of need we have is psychological need. A psychological need of the person in terms of housing is that the person should have a safe place to stay in for a family life. The person should have privacy to lead a good family life. Proper cleanliness and privacy must be maintained in order to make sure that the individual's mental health is protected. The psychological aspect of one's health is protected. The third one that we have is health needs, which includes provision of safe drinking water and water facilities inside the house. And finally, we have protective needs. In protective needs, we must make sure that our house is safe from any kind of accidents. These are the various needs of human inside the housing. Now, what is the standard of housing? What kind of house can be considered as a house that has maintained or that has reached the standard of housing? Environmental Hygiene Committee has recommended certain features or certain characteristics to be fulfilled by the house to be called as standard housing. Let us see what are those. The first one is the site of the housing. For this one, the committee recommends the house to be away from the area of pollution. The site of the house must be in a healthy locality and it must be away from any kind of pollutions. The second feature under housing is open space. A house must have open space for proper lighting and ventilation. So in our previous session only, we have seen how important lighting and ventilation is. A house must be spacious enough, it must be open enough to make sure that enough lighting and ventilation is present. The third characteristics for a standard housing is the roof. So there should be a certain height that must be maintained for a house. The height of the roof must not be less than 10 feet. The next one is floor space. So the floor space must be at least 100 square feet per person. The next one that we have is room. There should be no less than 2 living rooms in a house. These are the standard characteristics of housing, and all of this has to be maintained in order to be considered as a good house, because there are various adverse effects that inadequate housing or improper housing may cause. Adverse effect of inadequate housing may cause respiratory problems, it may cause certain skin infections, it may cause morbidity and mortality as well as various accidents. Let us see what all comes under this. Under respiratory problems, improper housing may cause frequent cough and cold for the family. It might also lead to asthma or bronchitis. Under skin infection, Inadequate housing, it might cause worm infestation, dermatitis, and scabies as well. The third one we have is accidents. So we have seen there are so many domestic accidents that happens inside the house which can lead to the death of the person as well. It may lead to death. It may also lead to certain disabilities in the person if the housing is not proper, if the space, the lighting, as well as ventilation is not proper. It may lead to various accidents that may be caused inside the house which can lead to disability and even death of the family. And the last one is morbidity and mortality. Poor housing is seen to be associated with higher rate of sickness as well as death rates. Therefore, a house is a very important component of a man's physical environment, and a house must be safe enough in order to make sure that the person does not suffer from any kind of diseases because of inadequate housing. Inadequate housing, as we have discussed, causes various respiratory problems, skin problems, as well as it is seen to be associated with various sickness and high death rates. Therefore, it is important to maintain proper housing as well as follow all the guidelines given by environmental committee to maintain the housing. That is all for today's class. We have discussed a very short topic, which is housing, and I hope the class was helpful. I'll see you all in the next session where we will discuss about water and water pollution. Thank you and have a great day ahead.